episode something.
You did it normal this time.
Yeah, because I was looking through footage from You Probably Shouldn't Cook This, because I'm doing a behind the scenes video, and put in with the You Probably Shouldn't Cook This was a bit from an episode of Lesbian Talk that we recorded right after doing it. You Probably Shouldn't Cook This, and you fucking yelled at me because I did it in a silly voice.
No, because you just do it like every single time, and then like...
She yelled at me, abused me, she hit me in the head with cardboard.
No one believed you because that episode's already gone up on YouTube, so they've heard it for themselves and know that you're lying. Fake news!
No, that episode hasn't gone on YouTube yet.
No, the episode of Lesbian Talk.
Oh, yes, that episode of Lesbian Talk did happen.
Yeah.
That was the Thanksgiving episode. The redone one without her abuse.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Oh, so, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Because that's when we're recording this.
Yep. Toy.
I've never heard anyone ever say top of the morning here.
Well, that's because you're in Northern Ireland, which is
a southern
different.
Thing?
You may well find some little old man doing it in rural Kerry or something. But Northern Ireland never did that sort of thing.
One of my supervisors, her partner's from Kerry. Apparently, he has a Kerry accent. I was like, oh.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a specific... Well, because we're driving to Dundalk. Did I say it right this time?
How do you say it?
Dundalk. Almost.
Almost. You've got the L being replaced with the W, right? But you're saying it as though it's two words jammed together.
Because I panic. Because you said I said it. We're going to a conference for me and 3 of my classmates. We are presenting our findings at a student psychological conference, and we're driving there. And my one classmate threatened to do a specific accent the whole way down, and another classmate was like, no.
This is next week?
No, this is on Wednesday night.
That's why I said, this is next week, ?
This is the week that's not now. It's the week that's coming.
I'm going to be left alone.
It's like basically...
Who will beat me when she's not around?
It's 24 hours. We're leaving Wednesday afternoon. We're staying the night. We're getting up. We're going to the thing. We're presenting. And then we're immediately getting back in the car and driving home. Because 2 or 3 of the people have uni the next morning. And then I am working, so...
I will have to be beaten by plushies.
How do you...
Anyway, St. Patrick's Day. I have a long and proud history of ignoring St. Patrick's Day because I don't give a shit. And even when I was in England, I would occasionally sort of go out, meeting up with people, and only work out that it was St. Patrick's Day halfway through the evening in a pub because there was a lot of people being ridiculous. So I had to go out today to go off and buy some crap. And I managed to get myself trapped between the fucking supermarket and a parade. Now, I could have, just trust me on this, the geography would not allow me to go round to get into the supermarket. So I was stuck there in the rain, bunch of people around me, and they had all sorts of traditional sort of, floats, people, giant papier-mâché heads that are representing things that I'm not sure about.
Also, it was bucketing down rain the whole day.
Yep, you had this gigantic rainbow flag being carried by a bunch of people, which was cool. You had some people who I think were guys sort of dressed up as, in sort of femme Irish dancing costumes, dancing. You had Chinese dragons for some reason. But then, towards the end, I was so shocked by this. I didn't occur to me to take my phone out until it was too late. But there was a bunch of children in blackface.
And she texted me this because I was at work today.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had my phone out to take a photo and it was too late, so I texted you. And now I don't think they were actually supposed to represent people, who are black. I think they were supposed to represent coal miners or something. But it was just like, holy shit, this is unfortunate.
We are the politically incorrect brigade.
I mean, when I got back, I was looking up traditional St. Patrick's Day stuff to see if there's anything like that. The only thing that kept coming up was the use of blackface in Morris dancing, which is very non-Irish.
Right.
Morris dancing is the crappiest British Isles-based traditional folk dance. The best is the sword dance of Scotland.
Well, there was, because I work at a shopping center, and so on the ground floor where we'll set up, we stage sometimes, there was pretty much every Irish dancing class ever, And the thing is,
them in blackface?
No, because I was at the till. They're fucking loud because they had the big powerful shoes on on, and the acoustics were, so it sounded like fucking artillery fire with a beat. So, oh god,
see, that's why the Irish
crazy.
are terrible at military things, because even their artillery has a fucking rhythm and you can work out when they're going to fire.
Just, because there's been pouring down rain. There's a festival going on, but we're not going probably till tomorrow or Sunday. And
I
it's
walked through it on the way, and they had like South African food, and I was like,
that's a new addition, because usually it's the usual suspects of the guy that sells the curry sauces.
that was there.
Windy City Cupcakes, which are from Belfast.
Don't remember seeing them there.
Oh, that's interesting. The people that sell these sausages and hamburgers.
Pretty sure, yes.
And a million and one kinds of crafts.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
the guy, going back to the accidental racism, the guy selling Yellow Man was there.
Oh, good. Did you buy some?
No, I just sort of walked on.
Oh.
But, Yellow Man is a traditional Northern Irish confectionery, and I believe its name has nothing to do with Asians, because in Northern Ireland, members of the Orange Order who wear orange and march around, they're traditionally called Orange Men.
Like, literally, the day that I emigrated here, my mother-in-law picked me up in Belfast, the airport, and we drove back, and we had to come a different way through new buildings. And I was like, oh, what's going on? And because she was talking to the police officer, and, oh, no, go around this way. She goes, oh, well, the black men are marching. And I was like, what?
Yeah, there's
how many are there?
There's the Black Preceptory, who is another organisation nicknamed the Black Men. So, apparently, Northern Irish Protestant organisations who march around have colour of that they wear, men, and this is bright yellow, and I believe it's from the Unionist/Protestant community. So, I believe Yellow Man was a reference to that.
It's like cinder toffee. It's very nice, but...
Yeah, it's like honeycomb flavoured shatterable plastic.
It's really nice.
Good.
Oh, and also, because I saw this a lot on social media, pinch or punch people that wear orange. Well, here's the thing, the tricolour has 3 colours.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people.
Like, Northern Irish Protestants are Irish too.
Yeah, if they want to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, they can.
Like...
Although Protestant saints don't really...
Yeah, but the thing is, but they still celebrate
They can do it if they want.
Yeah, like, that's the thing is, like, the Irish identity does include the Unionists, because they do count themselves as Northern Irish.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. It's like, oh, you're supporting the English. Well, not really though.
Yeah, the tricolour itself supports. It was designed to be the white is meant to be peace between the Catholics and the Protestants. The orange is from that.
Only the Republic really got into it, apparently.
Yeah, and then it was. Let's just say a lot of Protestants left the Republic of Ireland right afterwards.
But yeah, so
it didn't really work out that way, but it was a high ideal.
Yeah, so don't, like, get that attitude, because, like, it's different here, you know? Like, I mean, I guess, like, I was, like, pretty, like, stupid about stuff before I moved over here, you know, like, the first time that Hagen and my sister-in-law, Nicola, a.k.a. Avatar of Decent Humor, met my parents. They were over in the States, and we got together at Iron Hill Brewery in Westchester. And so we're sitting down, and my dad leans over and goes, oh, did you tell them that Mom's Irish? Because my mom, her grandmother, was from the Republic. And I was like, no, they hate that, don't say that. You know, because everyone's like, well, I'm Irish, you know. And, like, I had a friend who was like, you should become an Irish witch, because Irish witchcraft is in your blood. I'm like, well, no, because the Irish in my family were Catholics, though. This was the same person that them... No, this was a different girl.
Oh.
No, she and her mom shared a birthday, which was St. Patrick's Day, which is today.
So honorable Irish? No, you're not.
Well, I mean, like, I guess if, like, the Doyle, like, confers it upon you, then you could be honorary Irish, but unless you have a pass, I don't know. But, like, a lot of the kind of stuff that, like, really pisses off people in the Republic, like, I can totally understand now from just being in the country for a few years.
And one little factoid about St. Patrick's Day. If you're going to be a real fucking hipster, now I mentioned this on Twitter, but I'll mention it here again. Wear light blue. Because light blue is the traditional colour of St. Patrick. Green, it was the colour of Ireland. If you want to actually celebrate St. Patrick with his, slavery by Vikings, allegedly killing snakes, but not actually doing that because that was symbolic for driving Celtic pre-Christian beliefs away from Ireland. And it didn't happen. It's all bullshit. If you want to celebrate that...
And into my blood, apparently. Hmm? Driving pagan, pre-Christian things out of Ireland and into my blood, apparently. Because a girl was like, oh, well, Irish witchcraft...
Oh, yes, witch blood, yes.
Oh yes, witch blood, right?
Yes, I remember now. But yeah, so if you want to celebrate that, wear light blue. If you want to celebrate Irish stuff generally, I suppose, then green. Okay.
Actually, I saw a really, really historically accurate hat being worn by a wee child.
Oh no.
It was a green. It said Ireland on it, but it was a wee little Viking hat. Because who founded Dublin?
The Vikings.
Yes.
And what was the famous war band from Dublin?
The Blue Men of Dublin.
Yes.
And
Blue Men. What was Blue Men mean?
They were people of color.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you got black Irish Vikings, like a Guinness with horns. I saw actually for sale someone was selling a bunch of random Irish stuff, and they had a replica of the Scream mask, but the face was green, white, and orange.
That's funny. So we had fish and chips tonight because
we're celebrating the English oppressors.
No, our chicken went off, and I didn't feel like cooking because I was exhausted. So yeah, so that was our. But I did get a cider. I'm not drinking tonight because I've got to be up at 7 tomorrow because I'm in early for work. But I have Sunday off, so I'll drink heavily tomorrow. Plus, I have a shit ton of work to do for uni, so I can't be like I couldn't hand it in because I was plastered. Sorry about that.
You never know, that might actually work in Northern Ireland.
That's true. Well, I mean, the university was closed today, and we had half of a reading week. So Wednesday and Thursday were quote unquote reading days, meaning the uni is open, but there's no classes, so I didn't have to go to Peace and Conflict on Thursday. Speaking of peace and conflict.
Well, people in the internet community tend to, let's just say that there's a lot of Dunning-Kruger in the loudmouth YouTube community.
Now here's the thing, like...
And there's a lot of Dunning-Kruger in people who decide to defend them just knee-jerk because they're a YouTuber and so am I, and therefore I'm going to defend them.
Like, here's the thing. Don't tie your identities to people. Like, okay, so I was thinking about this. So, when I was in middle school and high school, I really loved the X-Files. Now, I'll let you know, like, kind of this ballpark. I graduated in 98. I started watching X-Files from the third episode of the first season.
She's so old.
I am old. I really love David Duchovny. I'm like, oh, he's so awesome and things and stuff. But I never imagined a kind of, like, friendship between us because I watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, you'd have, like, your favorite TV star, your favorite film star, you kind of had a wee crush on your favorite celebrity and stuff like that. But I think that people get a lot more invested in people on the internet, and I think that because it's a kind of different construct, it's like, oh, this is just some person who's got, like, a million followers, but this is some person who I see in their bedroom talking about, you know, Pokemon, while I'm sitting here in my bedroom on my computer, and I think people, like, tie their identity to people on the internet a lot easier, like, they feel like there's a lot more stronger of a bond than there actually is.
It might be that it's actually the effect, because that effect definitely existed before the internet. Maybe it's stronger, or maybe it's possibly that quote-unquote YouTube celebrities don't have anywhere near the amount of handlers or PR people surrounding them that people who do that's TV possible. And whatever do.
Well, yeah, that's like, you know, if you had a celebrity crush, that's great. You know, like, back in high school, everyone had, quote, the list, and the list was the list of celebrities that if one, for example, knocked on the door, your significant other would be like, oh, well, it's David Bowie at the door, and he'd like to have sex with you. Well, I'll see you later on today. You know, like that, oh, this is my fantasy list of people I'd like to have sex with, and your partner's like,
Omegas
oh, okay,
includes Optimus Prime.
No, just Peter Cullen. If you're Peter Cullen, write the show. But no, like, so that was the thing, because you would probably never meet this celebrity. But, I mean, the world is so different now. Like, I actually stopped what I was doing once and looked at you and said, isn't it really weird, the world that we live in now, that I'm actually stopping to think, wow, how can I most succinctly insult our president to his face in 140 characters or less? Like, so, I mean, you can just reach out and tweet at somebody now, and I feel like, I don't know, people are getting a lot more invested than probably is healthy.
No, probably the case.
Like, but I don't know JonTron. I've never seen any of his stuff. I've never watched Game Grumps, so I know they're really popular.
Apparently before he became famous, back when he was on the same sort of level as me, you know, back before I was in Take What Takes, stuff like that. You were
all forum trash?
Yeah, apparently he knew some...
Who am I kidding? I'm still forum trash.
Apparently we knew some of the same people. But, I never got to know him.
Yeah, I don't know who this guy is.
I remember being absolutely confused and shocked. It's like, why did he become famous? It's like, why did he take off? What? I still don't really get it. It's really fickle about who becomes big and who doesn't, because I can think of a fuckload of people who are, as far as I can tell, much more insightful and talented and intelligent than him, yet
That's
they
not how
become
the world works.
hugely big. It's confusing. It's like...
But keep in mind, fame is relative and it's subjective.
Yeah.
Like, apparently, like, one of the professors at my uni, who's my friend's supervisor for dissertation, he's, like, so super famous in the small specific field that he studies. Because she was telling me, she's like, oh, well, keep in mind we might have competition from other unis in the UK. Because we're, applying for the PhD program. I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, everybody wants to work with Mark because he's famous. I was like, he's famous? I didn't know that. She's like, yeah, he's written like a whole bunch of papers. I'm like, yeah, I knew that, but apparently he's famous.
I suppose it's like, I'm always baffled by what jokes of mine people like and what ones they don't like. The ones I think are brilliant, most people don't give a shit about. It's very subjective and confusing.
Yeah. But, like, I see all this stuff happening. I don't even know. I mean, like, the world changed so quickly in the space of a year, It's just like, when did we start defending people who said horrible racist things? Like, I actually saw several people in the past few days with the opinion of, well, these racists are entitled to their opinions. Racism isn't an opinion. I can't believe I gotta come out and say this. It's not a, let's agree to disagree. It's not a, I like anchovies on my pizza, you like broccoli kind of thing. Actually, both are horrible on pizza, but...
I'd say it is technically an opinion, but... they're entitled to hold that opinion, and you're entitled to call them a fucking horrible racist
But it's not a potato-potato kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, like...
What?
Some of the... No, I'm basically agreeing with you. I'm just trying to properly word what
Come
I
up with
wanna
a
say.
really killer phrase.
No, I'm much better at that on Twitter.
Ah, that's true. But it's just like, I say like, oh, we need to heal the rift between young people of differing opinion. No!
Yeah.
Young people are calling out racists and bigots and horrible people.
Yeah. Yeah, that the idea of the false idea of, the false moderate who has to bring the two extremes together. When those two extremes are one, people, horrible bigotry, and the other one yelling at horrible bigotry, the moderate is not the goodie.
Right. It's that kind of like, well, both sides are bad. When you tell me both sides are the same, as a coworker who tried to Irish-plain American politics to me, I said to him, look, when you say to me, but both sides are the same, here's what I hear you saying. Cupcakes. Urinal cakes. They're both the same. They're both cakes. Alright, well, go on, you take a big bite out of that blue one and see how you do. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, and then you have the people who are like, I'm so edgy and I'm so moderate. See, the left are horrible too because they called a right-wing person a Nazi. Well, if you say Nazi things, people are gonna call you a Nazi.
The real irony there is, what, as far as I can tell, the most pervasive use of the word Nazi in the last 10 years was probably...
Feminazi?
Yeah.
I win the prize. Bing, 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 bing.
Rush Limbaugh sort of coined that one. So I would argue that the right wing tend to call people Nazis more often than the left. The left, at least, attempt to come up with some sort of logical connection between the actual Nazis and the person they're insulting with the label.
Like people who say that, like, we should get rid of people of other ethnicities and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, or people being racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever. The left, at least, usually pay lip service to trying to come up with a logical reason for comparing them. Well, feminazi, I think men and women should have equal rights, and people shouldn't get harassed because of their sex. Where is that on the Nazi sort of platform in history ever?
One of the things we talked about in Peace and Conflict last week was relative deprivation theory. Mm-hmm. And the idea that, what people see of what lot that they're in. And it ties a lot into social identity theory. So we discussed it in the context of Northern Ireland, where you would have Protestants were historically the positive status group. They were the higher status group.
Yes.
And the Catholics
They were the privileged ones.
Yeah. Catholics historically, had a lot less control of resources, access to resources. They were disadvantaged. But the fact that deprivation is always relative, and so that once their lot started to improve, that's when civil rights really took off, because they said, wait a second, we were just really bad off. Now we're better off, but these people are still so much more better off. Shouldn't we be equal?
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes, well, then you have, reverse relative deprivation, where a disadvantaged group that wants the same thing as an advantaged group, the advantaged group sees that as oppression. And I was like, oh, pick me. Oh, I didn't say it like that. And she's like, yeah. I was like, so is that how, like in America, where Christians say, I'm being oppressed because gay people can marry? She's like, yeah, that's a great example. And then I was like smug at the Christian girl in my class who was kind of a bitch.
To the privileged, equality feels like oppression.
Well, that's what it seems to be with a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm a libertarian, I'm an independent, I'm a moderate. It's because they had little teeny horrible opinions that they were told, hey, that's a little teeny horrible opinion. It's kind of horrible, don't you think? And they're like, what? But I'm not like a horrible person. You're calling me a horrible person. Everything is your fault.
Yeah, a lot of people, at least for some bigotries, it seems to be of the result of someone says something that is racist, but it's not exactly a massive deal. Someone points this out, and then the person's like, they called me a racist. Racists are bad people. I'm a good person. Therefore, I can't be racist. Therefore, the fact that black people are doing worse, it must be because they're stupid, because it can't be because of racism, because I'm a good person.
Well, no, not even that. Just kind of like, how could you call me a racist? You must be taking everything out of context. You must be overreacting to everything.
Yeah, a lot of people sort of do a lot of horrible loops to defend themselves.
Well, that's cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I mean, we're all guilty of doing
cognitive
that
dissonance can lead to a delusional thought process if taken far enough.
We all do shit like that. However, I make a pointed effort to try not to.
Yeah, like how I bitch and piss and moan about people being slower than me on the highway, and then I'll pass them. But then, I'm like, this guy's riding up my ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's wrong in traffic except me.
Yeah, everyone's either too fast or too slow.
Yep.
It's one of those things.
I don't care. I know what Trump... It is cognitive dissonance. But in social identity theory, basically, you have your identity... Everyone conducts social categorization. It's just something that happens. And, some things are really arbitrary, like, I have brown hair. I am, part of the in-group of brown hair people, but if I changed my hair color, because the brown hair people group is one with very permeable borders, I would be in the in-group of the blonde hair people if I colored my hair blonde. My passport says I'm an American, so that's a pretty rigid boundary. I can change my nationality, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
So you have that. You have your identity tied to an in-group. So suppose your in-group, social comparison happens. Your in-group turns out to be the lower status group. So you're like, whoa, my self-esteem is tied to this. So things happen that are called identity management strategies. So basically, you can just up and leave the group. If you're like, oh my gosh, Man United have been doing so poorly these past few years. You know what? I'm no longer a Man United supporter. I'm going to go support Liverpool, a football person might say. And so that's a, you can disengage from the group at any time.
Or you can pretend to support Liverpool and be like Paul Nuttall from UKIP.
But sometimes you can only do that at a cognitive level. I'm like, America's doing some pretty horrible stuff. I can't not be American anymore. It's my citizenship. But I can cognitively, distance myself. You can't, you can disagree with your race, but you can't change your ethnicity. It's just not something that you can do. But then, in a collective group, there's a lot of collective strategies that happen, like social competition, where you're like, fine, well, then we're going to fight even harder. That's where you get, a lot of, really bad kind of racism.
Although I've noticed, sort of vaguely connected, that there's a certain amount of people who will only take the side of the oppressed group whenever they actively see them fighting back and getting angry. Prop 8, for instance, when it passed in 2008, within 3 weeks, the opinion polls had shifted and it would have passed. It would have been stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And I am sure that there's a certain percentage of people who saw people getting really pissed off after it passed, and then they changed their minds.
Oh, me too. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah, because or it's not so much that, it's just like they see people act, loudly,
like it wasn't important,
giving a shit
but now
about
that it is important,
and therefore joining it.
I understand.
Human psychology is really, really complicated. That's why you have to spend literally years studying it.
I know I have.
Well, when I say you, I do literally mean her.
Well, one of the really interesting things, because I'm talking about a lot of social identity theory because I just wrote a goddamn paper on it, is social creativity. Mm-hmm. Social creativity is a collectivist identity management strategy. It's kind of like cognitive dissonance. So basically, what you can do is you compare on a completely different dimension. Kind of like, all right, well, that's true. We got a worse mark than that other group, but our poster was prettier for our presentation. So basically, you change the whole dimension entirely to favor yourselves. You're like, so you basically moving the goalpost.
Mm-hmm.
Or
the Texas sharpshooter fallacy.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Which, if you don't know, that's where you take a shot and then you draw a target around it. But it's like for a debate version of that.
Or a superordinate recategorization, where you say, okay, well, the Germans might be wealthier than we English, but, well, we Europeans are better off than the Americans, I tell you what. It's basically like where, someone
People like having someone below them.
Yeah. And that's a lot of what it is. It's these kind of like...
It's fucked up. There was, if by the way, if any of these subjects,
Google them, because there's a lot on social identity theory and relative deprivation theory and all this kind of stuff. It's really fascinating.
Omega knows all these, scientific words for things. If any of these are interesting to you, please mention it in the comments, and we'll see if we can do a whole episode talking about interesting psychological subjects.
Oh, yeah.
Where I can be an idiot and ask stupid questions, and she can be all like, I know everything!
But it's really interesting because I sit in Peace and Conflict every week, and then I see all this stuff play out on Twitter, and I see the people who I used to respect spouting complete and utter vile nonsense.
And at least some of those cases, looking at the ages of the people involved, basically they've hit their mid-40s or slightly younger, and they were liberal for whenever they were young.
Liberal and cool and hip and edgy and with it.
And they stuck with that. They stayed in one place and everything else moved forward, which meant they became conservative. And now they're
angry about
they
that.
yell at the kids for doing shit
I'm still
wrong.
punk! I'm awesome! Well, here's the thing. I realized a long time ago that you get old and you become unawesome. Well, I have no idea who Little Mix are. Actually, that's a lie. I do know one of their songs because it's always been played on BBC One. But,
I'm never gonna shit about stuff like that. But
I just accept the fact that, there will come a time when no one will know the recording artists that I'm talking about.
Well, I'm used to that. I always have been. How many of you listen to The Gravedigger? Or Analathrak? Or Limbonic Art?
You're being such a hipster right now.
No, I'm being a metal fan.
No one cares about metal. No, but it's just... And then you see people that, you're like, these are small people, how could they follow, retweeting, like, oh, this rant really has a point, it really makes you think. No, it doesn't! Don't spout Nazi rhetoric. It just, it's been pissing me off, and
then you've got stuff where...
Don't defend JonTron. First of all, regardless of anything else, he seems to be of age of an adult. He can goddamn well defend himself.
Yeah, he can.
And I'm not even going to go into white knighting because I think it's a strange concept. But I'm not implying that if you defend him, you want to have sex with him. But...
If you want to defend JonTron, at least do it because you agree with his words. Don't do it because you like the guy. There's a lot of people who spout ridiculous, stupid shit. And I don't fucking defend them.
Like the whole, you hate the artist, love the art.
Well,
no!
You can do that if you want, but however, you're under no obligation to.
Yeah, but I think that's like Woody Allen. Okay, I liked Sleeper when I saw it when I was really small. Google it. I thought it was funny. I thought he was weird and neurotic and stuff. And then, wow, he's done some pretty fucked up shit. That's really horrible. That really colors how I see the movie Sleeper now.
Yeah,
I can't appreciate that because, well, he's horrible.
Well, if people are capable of separating the art from the artist, okay, fine. But not everyone wants to do that or has to do that.
True.
I mean, Everyone has a finite amount of time to experience art of various kinds. They're under no obligation to watch stuff created by people that they find horrible, just because it's quote unquote good art. If you want to do that, cool.
Well, art's subjective anyway.
Yeah, there's no such thing as good art, as far as I'm concerned. It just doesn't exist.
Da-da-da.
Yeah, because it's also subjective. But there was someone else. There was another one. There was comments by Boogie on YouTube where he was defending JonTron, all talking, being annoyed at people about a culture where people were being angry at YouTube people for saying horrible shit, and I found it so mad that he's defending the YouTubers who say the horrible shit from people who react to that horrible shit, but he's not defending the people who the YouTubers said horrible shit about.
Yeah.
He's only defending people and other YouTubers because they're like him, or the people that they attack. Oh, who cares about that? It's like,
yeah. I mean, like, what if there was a YouTuber of color who was just going off and off and off and off and oh, I hate white people and I hate Asian people and all this kind of stuff and it's basically spouting the same talking points that you see a lot of white guys on YouTube spouting. Where's the outrage?
Sometimes they invent shit like that. People are taken out of context. There was
but what I mean is why if that was the case and YouTube said we're taking away your ad revenue because you're horrible and Wall Street Journal came out and said why so and so or suppose they were on Screenwave, why are you having this person on your network? Where would be all the people falling over themselves to defend them then?
Well, there's a lot of people on YouTube who do not scream about people about that sort of shit. People seem to be very fickle and very particular in who they loudly defend. Everyone complaining about when PewDiePie was dropped by Maker. No one gave a shit whenever I was dropped by Maker. Whenever, they shut down Blip. No one gave a shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Why should I didn't even give a shit about me. Why should I give a shit about PewDiePie? But, some people, taken out of context. For instance, this one, I could have the details wrong about this one, but I think what happened was, there's a YouTuber called Cat Black, who I've never seen any videos by, but she subtweeted a tweet. Mm-hmm. This tweet, the tweet was attacking her by yelling about white genocide. Mm-hmm. And she decided to parody them by talking about how white genocide is awesome. And actually, since she was talking to a white supremacist, in this context, white genocide means interracial dating. Cat Black is black. She's dating a white guy. So she was saying that, interracial dating is great. And then this other YouTuber, Chris Reagan, I think, took just Cat Black's tweet, mm-hmm. without the tweet that she was reacting to and parodying, and put it into a video about how racist this black woman is. And it's like you were saying about the white, black nationalist type mm-hmm. YouTuber. They got to invent that to rail against, because as far as I can tell, it doesn't actually exist. I mean, there's a couple of, I can think of one or two, but it doesn't really exist, not on the same level.
I don't know, it just seems like a very peculiar kind of platform. Because I saw someone retweeting an article, with a picture of JonTron and parents, what should you do when you find out that your child is watching a racist YouTuber? And I was like, what kind of world are we in that this is an article that an online magazine puts out?
Well, to be fair, it's not quite analogous to television, so they do have to come up with new things. That's honestly, this is probably why YouTube has brought in this fucking restricted mode.
Which, by the way, if you're on restricted mode, well, you're not, because none of Lesbian Talk shows up, and half of the Christmas thing is gone. I don't know what we did. Apparently, we were really, really racy for them, but
I don't know how they choose it. Do they choose it with the words? Do they actually? Do they have a program that goes through the video and chooses?
I think sometimes it's arbitrary, but then somebody retweeted a thing about it takes out a lot, pretty much all of gay YouTube.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And I
apparently I've got 6 videos on YouTube because of this restricted mode.
Yeah, so anything with the word lesbian in it, even though it's just us having the crack.
Yeah, but the Christmasing ones, did they have a program that scans through for something that sounds like swear words and then delete that?
Don't know.
I mean, that's possible. I mean, they have shit like that to work out copyrighted material. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they have a speech-to-text program, so wouldn't be surprised. But, this is the exact sort of ridiculous overreaction that happens whenever people start using unfettered freedom of speech to be shitheads.
And the thing is that this will be blamed on quote-unquote SJWs and the left.
Yeah,
and
like
the
with
liberals.
like the PewDiePie thing, where you got Disney, a fucking huge right-wing capitalist organization, decides that it doesn't like having bad PR, and so drops a guy, and then the quote-unquote SJWs get the blame. SJWs are they are the world's greatest supervillains who are unstoppable. They're almost godlike or satanic in their powers. But at the same time, they can be easily pwned within just 3 or 4 minutes on YouTube. Although it would never take 3 or 4 minutes because you got to drag that out to at least an hour. Have you ever noticed the guys who yell at SJWs they tend to use 15 words when 3 will do. A bit like myself in that regard.
Yeah, there's not a word count in real life.
Yeah.
You know? It's just, I don't know. And I mean, like, I always, like, I feel compelled to say something because this didn't used to be the world, you know? Like, I mean...
I'm getting, honestly, on a personal level, I'm getting really, really sick of being expected to respect people who, honestly, if they had their way, would probably be happy to see people like me dead.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, fuck you.
Or, you know, we need to agree to disagree.
No.
Oh, don't bring politics. I think Nash said it best a while back. You know, Nash said, you know, we say, oh, getting political and talking about politics as if we were talking about, you know, an unexpected, horrific, you know, bodily fluid. You know, this is... Stop that. It's this thing of, oh, don't bring politics into it. Oh, let's do... You know, and that seems to be something that, like, that's that new edgy moderate group, you know? Oh, don't bring politics into it. Oh.
Yeah, that's the new center, which apparently includes Dennis Prager and...
They're both the same. I'm so edgy.
Dennis Prager, Ben Shapiro, and, what do you call him? Glenn Beck, who very, very quickly went back to being quote-unquote unwoke.
Yeah, I had stopped hearing about him, so I figured something like that happened. But it's just like the people who... And it's this kind of like, you know, listen... Bring your erection down slowly, Tiger. Okay? Because they're just kind of like, oh, I'm so edgy. I know this is completely straw man, but I don't care. You know, oh, I'm so awesome. I'm not like the left or the right. I'm so unique. No, you're not unique. No one's unique. I know they told us it in elementary school, but they lied.
My usual feeling on this whole group of people is... I got a quote from Buffy the Vampire Slayer constantly going around in my mind. It's
oh, no, that's unfortunate forever.
No, it's this bit where there is a bunch of vampires who are, you know, young and have decided to kill people on Halloween, even though that's against the rules. And you got this, you know, the 15-year-old vampire, well, more like 20, but he's like, we're rebels, we're against the system, we're rebelling. And then Spike kills the guy and says, I'm a rebel, you're an idiot.
No, but I see you know,
people
that, like,
who are edgy don't need to scream about how edgy they are. They just do it. G.G. Allen, whenever he was giving himself concussions with fucking microphones and eating his own shit on stage,
bleh,
did not feel the need to describe himself as punk on Twitter.
That's a pretty good point.
Yeah, G.G. Allen is probably the most extreme musician I've ever come across, and all of us, happily myself included, are fucking Care Bears in comparison.
What would your Care Bear be? Like, what would your picture be if you were a Care Bear?
I have no idea.
This came up on Reddit the other day, in an Ask Reddit thread.
I have no idea. I have no idea, but...
Mine would be the human brain, and I'd be like, Knowledge Bear. They're like, Care Bear stare, and there's like, oh, ow, oh, my IQ just went up 20 points.
There are a lot of people who are convinced that they're sort of new, hip, edgy, that they are doing something that
I'm anti-establishment by not being the left or the right. Congratulations, politics is a spectrum of beliefs.
And you got people who are basically echoing horrible and discredited political things from decades and decades ago, and they're acting as though they're somehow new. Honestly, the quote-unquote culture online, which is the most unique and the most new, that is any sort of pervasive sort of influence, is fucking Tumblr. You got the ones there...
Yeah, but isn't that also, like, really full of porn, too?
Yeah, it is, but you got the quote-unquote, the ones who are like, you know, I'm demisexual fairy starkin. You know the one that's constantly derided on Tumblr and Action? That kind of one. That, as far as I'm concerned, that is internet punk rock. Because they really don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I think some of the people who are trenders are actually really harming transgender rights.
That's an entirely fair point to make. I'm just saying that if...
That's one of my more conservative kind of viewpoints.
I'm just saying, if anyone is internet punk rock, it's them. It's not the fucking alt-right, the cartoon Nazis. These guys have basically repackaged old shit as though it's new. They came out with... The Tumblr ones came up with something new. Good on ya.
But, like, why do you win if you're internet punk? Like, what valuable prizes?
I'm using the word internet punk is because it's actually
like everyone wants to be, like, the coolest kid by being the worst kid? Like, I don't...
I was making a reference to Paul Joseph Watson, who does stuff for Infowars. He basically decided that conservatism was punk rock. Around the same time, he released a video talking about how degenerate popular modern music is, which was really funny. Nothing more punk than hating music than hating Miley Cyrus for twerking. Such punk, so edgy.
Well, it's always just everyone seems like, if they can be the edgiest or if they can be the best, that they win. But I got news for you. Every single person that's listening right now is going to die someday. I'm going to die someday. And if you think don't think that doesn't scare the hell out of me, you're wrong. You're going to die someday. Everyone who will ever watch this YouTube video at some point will die. There's no winning. You don't win.
I kind of want people to spam Paul Joseph Watson with clips for rock bitch live shows where they piss on each other while doing punk concerts.
That's not
See how much you can handle that.
I wouldn't pay money to see that.
Well, my point is, you got all these people talking about how edgy they are and trying to be extreme and shit, and it's like, you're doing stuff several degrees much less extreme than people decades ago. Like, maybe it's because I'm not paying much attention, but when it comes to, like, music, the only type of new music, as a new genre that I've noticed happening within the last 20 years is fucking dubstep.
I like melodic dubstep, actually. I like chill step, too.
Like, I hate the sound of dubstep, but I'm glad it exists because it means that humanity has evolved. They've created a new type of music. And the fact that I don't recognize it so much as music, that's a good thing.
Dubstep is okay. I like trip hop and chill step, usually because I like to have it on YouTube while I study. And actually, I tell you what, Mixhound, the channel, give them a subscribe. If I pass uni, it's going to be 100% their fault. Just because I have that on while I work on stuff.
Honestly, I think a lot of this comes down to a lot of people, as they get older, it's not exclusively done for older people, but generally it happens, people hit the time when they are comfortable with shit, and then shit changes around them, and then they want to reclaim the old ways. Which, that's conservatism. But people just need to get more comfortable with change. I know this is really ironic coming from me, especially on my feelings about Doctor Who. And I recognize that.
Well, the thing is
in the rest of the world, just, that's not Doctor Who. Please, be comfortable with the fact that things change.
Cognitive flexibility actually is a function of individual differences. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that correlates to different kind of stuff. Now, if you are a believer in personality types, and I'm not talking about Jung, and I'm not talking about the goddamn Myers-Briggs. The goddamn Myers-Briggs is... Oh, I'll talk to you about that later. I could do a whole episode
the rest of you have to Google
on the Myers-Briggs. It's not real. It doesn't survive reliability and validity. It cannot be confirmed by factor analysis. I'm sorry, mathematically, it's bullshit. But if you're looking at scales like the Big Five or, the Big Three, like Isaac or Costa and McRae, certain types of answers on personality spectrums will give you, certain types of personality types. And what a lot of research goes into is correlating what kind of person believes this thing. Is there a trend? Is there a correlation? And that's why you get those headlines that say, oh, now idiot scientists say that conservative people have low IQs. Well, that's not, if you ever read the studies, that's not what the studies are saying. It's saying that they're finding a correlation between two variables.
Are they suggesting that people who become conservative, who get locked into a particular way of being, that they have slightly less IQ than people who are more okay, who can accept change easier and therefore more likely to be liberal at any point in their lives?
Well, no, I can't say yes or no because there are a lot of studies like this,
Okay.
and they're all looking at things that are different.
Okay.
So they're all saying slightly different things.
Because that would be how I'd interpret that.
Like, in psychology, we don't make causal statements. We don't say this causes this.
Oh.
Because, and here's the really cool part, no matter how perfect your measure, no matter how well designed your experiment, there will always be, mathematically speaking, an error. It's a percentage of error.
Because
you can never know.
People are imperfect and they express themselves imperfectly.
Well, no, that and mathematically.
Okay.
It just, there's always an error. And that's kind of cool. You can never really know the true empirical truth. You can get close. But that truth exists. You can just never get to. I think that's kind of cool. But the thing is that we don't make causal statements. So we don't say people who have lower IQs tend towards these political beliefs potentially as a consequence of their lower IQs. We don't say that because that's a causal statement. We can only say, we've found a correlation between these two variables. And of course, places like the Daily Mail run off and make those comparisons.
Yeah,
and this is one of the reasons why no one trusts the social sciences, and it's not our fault.
Well, the Daily Mail too.
The Daily Outrage. Do you know what was on the front page of the Daily Outrage today?
The Daily Hate.
There's nothing else to hate about. So I work at a shop and we sell all the papers, and it was when will the NHS end the horror of mixed wards? Apparently, a hospital ward is like, so you know how you have your private or semi-private room in a hospital? Well, in the UK, a lot of hospitals have a ward, like the asthma ward or the brain damage ward.
Like Victorian style.
Yeah. So, but apparently, it's a horror that some of these wards are mixed gender, which I think makes sense because I can recall being in the hospital and being in a semi-private room with a guy.
Plus, you got fucking curtains.
Yeah. Like, someone correct me if I'm wrong because it's been a long time since I've been admitted to the hospital, but I don't believe that we have any issue with gender segregation. You're just in the room that you're in, or you're on the ward that you're on. The ICU is not sex segregated.
You tend not to be very conscious in the ICU.
Yeah.
So you don't really worry.
But the horror of mixed gender wards. When will someone do something?
Oh, call back to a couple of episodes ago, but I still have not found any evidence that the Wall Street Journal actually called PewDiePie a Nazi.
Yeah, that's true.
So as far as I can tell, they explained what he did, and they gave it some ominous music to frame it, which is what newspapers do, and that's it.
Yep.
Oh, the horror
of the mixed ward. I should call this episode that. I didn't mean to go on about racism for the whole entire episode, but we got a really, really cracker subject for next week.
Yeah, we were supposed to talk about something else because...
A really cool historical thing, actually.
Yeah, because the AMC is doing an adaptation of Dan Simmons' book, The Terror, and Omega is obsessive about the subject matter of that book.
And then the best thing happened. You got obsessive about it, too.
I've been finding it fascinating, the real life thing, because it is mystery and horror and tragedy, and it's so sad, the story. The real life one, not so much the terror, because it involves... any story that involves Eskimo giant fucking bear demons can't
Spoilers.
Oh, they gotta look it up. That one doesn't... That's not as sad as the real life thing.
Yeah. There weren't any supernatural elements
Probably
in the real life
not.
one that we were aware of. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that next time. And just squee on and on and on and on. But yeah, so the long and short of this is, don't listen to people on Twitter. Don't tie your identity... Well, okay, if you're friends, don't tie your identity to online people, because tie your identity to, real values in your life. And don't be a racist. Don't defend JonTron because he was horrible and he was wrong. That's where
when dealing with sort of quote-unquote political opinions, do some fucking thinking. Don't get your answers from an idiot on the internet, and that includes us.
Yeah. If I say, I hate racism, and you retweet me because you agree, that's grand. But you're allowed to be like, shut up, Omega, I'm a racist. Let me tell you what.
But if you are undecided as to whether racism is bad or not, and you hear Omega saying that, don't automatically decide, well, Omega seems clever, I'll agree with her.
Right.
Do some fucking thinking, because racism is clearly bad.
I think that example's getting away from you.
No, it's clearly about...
Also, all right, well, let's end on a positive note. Okay, because since I have a lot of work to do for uni, so I've been like having like marathon study sessions. I tell you what, the best way to begin your day with a mug of tea or coffee in your hand is watching videos on YouTube where elderly people are surprise gifted with puppies and kittens for Christmas or their birthdays. It's just fantastic. You'll just feel like $1 million.
Okay.
I did that the other day. It's just so great because, all right, sit down, Grandma. This one's your present. Oh, all right. What do you? Come here. Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, he's licking me. It's so happy.
See, right now we're living semi-separated, in temporal sense because
yeah, pretty much.
Because Omega is up all day working university stuff
and going to work and all that other.
And I tend to be asleep most of the day and editing all night because we can't do our work at the same time. Our computers are right next to each other. So.
Well, we can. It's just I end up hearing, "My fucking Teddy, what?" And then if you say that, "What fucking Teddy, what?"
Over and over and over.
I'm trying to talk about socioeconomic status and its correlates with intelligence.
So it's impossible.
Let me tell you about autism.
So we only have a few hours together.
So anyway.
And we spent it with you.
Exactly. So that's been us. This has been Lesbian Talk for this week. Honey, I have been the Omega, and who do you want to have me in this week?
An angry JonTron fan who is going to leave horrible comments about us. You know who you are.
In the future.